Hey, what's up? Today I'm starting a new feature that's going to be part of the mailing list every week, and it's basically an Ask Me Anything video. Because it's a lot easier for me. I'm getting so many emails now. I do my once a week mailbag, but I only use one question in there, and I'm getting so many questions and a lot of really, really good questions from you guys too. So I'm going to take one question a week and answer it in a video form, somewhat YouTube sizable, under 10 minutes. But it'll just be easy for me to knock these out every week for you guys, and you'll get a bunch of free content. So today we have a question from, hold on, let me pull up my email here on the computer. We have a question from Robert in New Mexico, and he wants to know, how can you ask a girl out once I got a girl's phone number? I got a girl's phone number, but he basically, he got a girl's phone number, but he was just like, oh, we should totally hang out, and she was like, yeah, call me sometime, and now he wants to know how he can turn that into a date. Well, I talk a little bit about this in the phone and the Flake Elimination Toolkit program, but it's not a deal breaker. I've gotten tons of girls' phone numbers from just kind of, give me your number, I'll call you sometime, I want to talk to you again. Very weak number closes, as the people in the PUA community would call it. But I was able to then get the girls out on the phone. So you definitely can use the phone to turn numbers that aren't solid into dates. That's anyone who says that you can't convince a girl over the phone to see you is wrong. I've done it a lot. So the first thing is you want to follow up just like a regular number, right? You didn't set up a plan, so now you want to follow up. Hopefully you had a really good connection with this girl. There was some chemistry, some commonalities. Maybe you guys shared some inside jokes, hopefully. Hopefully you guys had some nickname or something that builds a little conspiracy, because conspiracy is really our friend when it comes to phone flaking. If you can get a girl to invest in this kind of imaginary make-believe world of you and her and share this kind of our world frame, as I like to call it, you will have a lot of success with turning girls who seemingly weren't that into you into actual dates. So I'd want to follow up the next day, right? Met the girl. You always want to follow up the next day if it's a cold approach. If it's not a cold approach, this seemed like it was a cold approach, Robert. But if it wasn't a cold approach, then you can wait, anywhere up to 2 weeks. But with a cold approach, you want to strike while the iron's hot. So I'd want to send a text the next day with some sort of callback humor, right? Something like, recently I met a girl who was a hot nerd, right? And so I might be like, hey, hot nerd, and we talked about food. I'd be like, just got the most delicious tacos. What are you up to? Right? Just something that isn't, hey, it's John, nice to meet you, or, some cocky funny text, or some text where she's going to be like, who is this? I just want something where it's obvious who it is, we've got some callback humor going, then I'll text back and forth, and the key to getting a girl when you haven't set up a plan is to talk a lot about things you're going to do. Having an actual life helps a lot. If not, you can fake it and it works equally as well. I've done it both ways. So it's much better to just have a lot of plans, be well versed and in the know about a lot of cool things that are going on, and going to a lot of cool things, even if they're not at night, even if you only go out on the weekends. Just having stuff that you're doing every weekend that's different and fun. Meetup.com has a bunch of great groups. They're not going to be the hottest, like, club girl 9s and 10s, but it gives you some stuff to do with a group of people that at least is interesting, that you can talk about and invite girls to. Right? So I'll talk about plans a lot, both on the phone and in text. I want to escalate the text, but I want to do it on a cliffhanger. So what that means is I'll say something like, oh my God, I totally was reminded about you today when I was driving, but I got to tell you the whole story because it makes no sense over text and you'll hate me. So what I'm doing there is I'm providing a lot of emotional stimulation and baiting her to escalate up the intimacy ladder from texting to the phone, because texting is less intimate than the phone. Girls will text with almost anybody, because it's very safe. There's no awkwardness. She doesn't have to respond if she doesn't like what you say, this, that, or the other. So I want to get on to the phone. So I do something like, oh my God, I totally got reminded of you today when such and such, something weird happened. I would explain, but you'd hate me. But you'd hate me is important because now it kind of puts a seed in the girl's mind. Like, why would I hate her? Is it bad? Like, is it something that I'm not gonna like? And so now she'll be more likely to pick up the phone when you call. I'll call you and give her a time you're gonna call, and then call a few minutes later. Then on the phone, you want to have a follow-up story, right? You baited her into it. Now you need to have something to follow up. So she's like, what were you saying? What were you saying? I'll have like some follow-up story that I've told a couple times, like the gym fart story or something like that. Then I'll, kind of do a little callback humor, maybe a role play, maybe a rant, some grounding, talking about things I'm interested in. And then I'm going to talk about future plans. I'm going to talk about things that I'm doing that are going to be awesome, but I'm not going to invite her. The same way that we seed it with a date, we're going to seed it on the phone. Hopefully at some point she says, what are you doing tonight? Because with girls, a lot of the time they just look for the best offer. And they're taught really early on that guys are usually the best offer. Like a girl will blow almost anything off for a date with a guy that she's attracted to and that she really is interested in. So be aware of that. Like, if you really do a good job, she'll blow almost anything off. So when you're on the phone with a girl, it's kind of like the showdown to who's going to say, what are you doing tonight first? And girls will do it, and sometimes you can bait them in, right? So they go, what are you doing? You go, well, later on I'm doing this, that, or the other. But I was thinking about going and grabbing a drink. What are you doing from 7:30 to 9? And you give her a time-constrained date, because since you didn't have a plan, you kind of just make it very low pressure for her. So it's an hour and a half. If we hate each other, you can be home by the time CSI is back on. And from there, a lot of the time, girls will go out with you. Very, very high. I've had really great success. I've been on hundreds of dates using that kind of strategy for a girl that I didn't set up a date with initially. But it is much better to set up a date initially, because then you have like a confirmed time date in place, which is psychologically just so much more powerful. All right, that's going to wrap this up. If you have questions you want to see answered in this mailbag or my regular mailbag, send them to sin, S-I-N-N, @sinsofattraction.com, and I will talk to you guys later.